jashtme të Finlandës. Musafir kemi shkëlqësinë e saj zonjën ambasadore Pia Stjanval. Welcome, Mrs. Ambassador.
Thank you.
Dhe arsyeja pse do të flasim për politikën e Finlandës si një shembull politikës jashtme është shumë fisht. Jo vetëm se Finlanda është një vend skandinav, ndër vendet më të zhvilluara, sidomos në fushën e edukimit. Është vendi numër 1 në botë. Por është një vend i vogël për nga popullsia, më thonë i ka 4-5 milion banor, por me sipërfaqe është një vend bajg i madh. Dhe presidenti i saj, ish presidenti i saj Marti Ahtisaari, është njëri nga themeluesit e kombit tonë. Është një nga më meritorët për faktin që ai ka bërë punën që është dashur ta bëjnë intelektualët e Kosovës, edhe një pjesë që është dashur ta bëjnë politikanët e Kosovës. Kështu që plani mbas të cilit është shpallur pavarësia e Kosovës dhe është njohur nga mbi 100 vendet e botës, nga mbi 100 kombet e botës, është hartuar pikërisht me shumë kujdes, duke pas parasysh rrethonat ndërkombëtare, duke pas parasysh jo vetëm rrethonat ndërkombëtare, por duke pas parasysh edhe rrethonat e brendshme të Kosovës. Dhe ai në mënyrën më të mirë i ka harmonizuar rrethonat e jashtme me ato të brendshme për ta parë atë se çfarë është më mundshmja për të realizuar, këtë projektin që quhet pavarësia e Kosovës. Fatkeqësisht, shumica politikanëve në Kosovë as që kanë lexuar planin Ahtisaarit, edhe pse atë e kanë votuar në parlament me një shumicë prej 109 deputetësh. Shumica, edhe ata që e kanë lexuar, disa prej tyre që e kanë lexuar, nuk e kanë kuptuar mirë, qoftë për shkak ngarkesave apo ideologjike, po më shumë për shkak të një sistemi shkollor të cilën ne e trashëgojmë nga sistemi komunist dhe nuk kanë qenë në gjendje ta kuptojnë një tekst i cili të cilën e kuptojnë shumica në botë. Por prandaj edhe ka pasur sot në vend se kur jemi në 10 vjet mbas pavarësisë së Kosovës, sa u bën tash 12 vjet po bëhen, të ketë një përmendore në Prishtinë, akoma ka zëra të cilët shprehin në mënyrë akuzative për Ahtisaarin dhe për planin e tij, gjë që është një gjë e pandershme nga ana e jonë. Po sidoqoftë, kur flasim për Ahtisaarin dhe për atë se çfarë ka bërë, ne është mirë ta shohim se si duket politika e se si janë rrethonat dhe si është sistemi politik në vetë Finlandën, ku Marti Ahtisaari ka qenë president, cilat përvoja ka mujt ai t'i nxjerrë nga vendi vet, dhe do të shohni ju disa ngjeshmëri, domethënë në gjatë ligjëratës së zonjës ambasadore, edhe tek minoriteti suedez, edhe te minoriteti sami që jeton në Finland, edhe tek rruga historike të cilën e ka ndjek Finlanda drejt krimit si komb, edhe si shtet që ka dalë në jetë 102 vjet më parë. Me 6 dhjetor do të kemi 102 vjetorin e pavarësisë së Finlandës, dhe domethënë është një shtet që është krijuar, rishtas, por ndoshta do të themi për shumicën e vendeve evropiane, duke nëse nuk I llogarisim këto që janë krijuar dekadave të fundit nga vendet kombët që kanë dalë nga ish Jugosllavia. Ambassador, I had a lot to say, but I will give you a time. So I hope I've just made an introduction. I don't know if you could understand in Albanian what I said. Just I mentioned the role of President Ahtisaari and that you will see during the speech of Mrs. Ambassador, how to and to find similarities and which experiences Ahtisaari took for Kosovo, and that most of the what Ahtisaari wrote, most of the politicians in Kosovo, they haven't read, unfortunately. Although this is the basic document for our nation, and this is even most of those from whom they read already, they did not understood because of the school system that we inherited from the communist times. So that was a reason why I do not understand and why they are blaming still Ahtisaari instead to make a monument in the center of Pristina for him for what he did for Kosovo. So that's. So
it's on, yeah. So good morning, everyone. Very big pleasure for me to be here today and see you all. I understood that you are doing your PhD studies or master studies. Okay. I hope I can give you more information about Finland. I will start with some of the points which are from long-term history, but it really much helps you to understand our political sphere we are now. Where we are now, actually, and why we are doing certain things, what we do. First of all, just one small curiosity to tell you that we always thought that as a Finland, we are very kind of new country because we got our independence in 1917. However, there have been Finnish living in Finland already from 8,900 years before Christ. So we have been there, even though not really being a Finland, but being there living as the Finns. Then I will go to the history, really nearby history. So in our history, you can actually put in three different parts. It was the time with the Sweden, time with the Russia.
Can you put the map on the wall? I mean, that's it.
I don't. Yeah, I should have probably, I could have brought.
No, we have some of the Which nëse mësh me këto me drejtu pak po na?
Okay.
Weet je te maken, hè? Weet je te maken, що ти мусите замка.
Okay. We continue anyway, yeah?
Yes, we can
okay.
continue now.
Yeah.
We will just show the map of Finland in order to
understand where we are. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, in three periods. First, the time with the Sweden, second, the time with the Russia, and then it was our independence. And actually, in 12th century, we still were kind of vacuum. So there were people living, but it was not the Sweden, it was not the Russia. After that, actually, Sweden took over to Finland, and they were in Finland till 1809. Some good things of Swedish being in Finland, which was not yet been ever Finland, but Finnish people were living there, was that we had Lutheran reforms. So we changed from Catholic to Lutheran, and I think it's basic part of our society. And if you look at Lutheran history or what is taught there, it's very much that you have to do the work, you have to take care of yourself, you have to take care of people around, and you have to be honest. And that's something that, and you can't go to church and give away your sins, but sins are all the time with you, and that's why it's much better that you don't do sins. So it's, yeah.
When we are here, it's good to explain because, for example, many Protestant churches, the king or queen were the head of the church. In the case of Finland, we have that there was no kingdom of Finland. And how, was this when Finland became independent, how the church, Protestant church, was established, and how, just to have in mind to explain this, maybe it would be important for our students.
Okay. I try to, if I can, actually. But and then the second thing is at that Swedish time we got our Finnish language, like it became as a written language. It mainly because of Finnish needed to learn the Bible, so we got our own Finnish language. And thirdly, that Swedish language is always part of our society, so it will be forever and ever. And it came very prevalent then. I think till our independence from Russia, Swedish language was kind of the main language which was spoken in ports, in government, in high business and everywhere. So it was, even though they were about 8% of Swedes living in Finland, still the Swedish language was the main language in all the kind of governmental positions. So I think these are the three main issues which from that era came to our country and became important part of our country. Then there was very bloody war between Sweden and Russia. And from 1809, we actually became part of Russia. For us, actually, it was really, and that time Russia was Russia, not the Soviet Union. For us, it was good because Grand Duke gave us autonomy. So first time Finland became as a state. So for us, as Finland, we could start to practice our political life and being part of different structures, and also because we were strictly under the emperor or great Grand Duke in that time I think in St. Petersburg, we were able to have a quite good decision made without Russians living in Finland interfering. So that was a very important thing for that Russian time. Secondly, our Finnish movement got stronger. So we had our first national epic, Kalevala, which was created by Elias Lönnrot, and it was published already in 1835. But this gave us kind of, how do you say, that identity that we are Finnish, and that's important for us. And then after that, we had a parliamentary elections in 1906, which gave in Europe the first parliamentary elections where women can vote. So also this was very good with the Russian period.
Du ta mbani mend pra, do më thonë që për herë të parë që ju kur keni mësuar teorinë, domdoj themelimit të kombëve, në po që në fillim gratë nuk kanë qenë pjesë e kombit faktikisht, se kanë qenë mirë po për herë të parë, pra tek finlandezët, edhe pse akoma pa u bërë shteti pavarur, domethënë. Sorry for interrupting sometimes, just to make some to put some accents.
Okay.
Edhe shikoni këtu hartën të zonë të Finlandës, e harrova ta them fillim. Është një ngjeshmëri tjetër. Finlandezët, domethënë nuk kanë kushëri rreth vetit, domethënë janë njësoj, domethënë sikur ne faktikisht se suedezët dhe këta janë popull gjermanik, rusët janë popull slav, domethënë kjo kufizohet me Suedin, Norvegjin, Rusin, domethënë ka si Kosova, 4 fshin, Përballë Baltikut, këtu vetmit kushëri kanë estonezët, domethënë të cilët janë njësoj, domethënë në një grup me hungarezët edhe me turqit. Dhe kështu që kanë pak domethënë afërsi etnike me këta popull, me estonezët që janë domethënë përtej detit. Shikoni ku është Tallini, Helsinku, janë dy portët domethënë që janë përballë njëra tjetrit, mirë po i ndonë deti Baltik. Sorry for
not at all. So then all of this Russian time ended in 1917 when we got our independence. It's 6th of December. And there had been already quite a lot of unhappiness in Russia for the Tsars and the Great Duke. I don't know. In English, it's a bit hard to use these terms. But anyway, for the Tsars, and you know what is the Tsar, isn't it? And because there was this revolution coming up, and they couldn't really take care of us like they used to, and we had some worse times in our autonomy. Russia has a bit oppressed us, not seriously, but anyway, we didn't feel very happy. And then it was actually time that we noticed that this is very good time. Actually, our president, Sven Huvud, which was not yet president then, he realized that this is not good, and he asked Russia to give our independence. So actually we got it then in 6th of December. And even though it is a huge point for us, but we had already so many things that we have built up that even if it probably wouldn't happen then, it would probably happen anyway. I think the most critical part what happened after that is that in some of our people, especially laborers and people who were working at the farms but not owning the farms, they were inspired by the Russian Revolution, and they wanted to have a power, and we had a coup in Finland in 1918, or at the end of 1917, at the start of 1918. And because of this coup, it was our first civil war, and first and only, actually. And in this civil war, it was called Whites, which were from the business world, farmers, whoever had some capital, they were at that side, and the poor laborers or of course, poor laborers, which wanted to have some of the position for themselves. So they were fighting, and it was quite bad fight, actually. It's many people, because, I think you can find some similarities even though everyone in there were Finnish. So neighbors were killing neighbors. So neighbors were kind of letting to know that there is whites, which were from that time like business, governmental side. There are whites living in the houses, and you can go to kill them. There is threats there. You can go to kill them. And people really fought only 6 months, but very many people died. I don't remember exact. No, I remember. I have here. So whites were killed 6,000, and Reds were killed 32,500. And of course, you can then understand that the whites won the war. However, I think from that period, even though it's still, people are still talking about it. We just had 100 years about this war, and it's still affecting our lives and our relationship with people. But I think the biggest change happened in 1980s, because when I was a kid in 1980s, I remember that if you were in a Social Democratic Party, people were calling you communist or Reds or something like that. And if you were from the other parties, like conservative parties, you were called at whites, and you don't understand, you are crazy, independent, or things like that. But I think after 80s, it has really changed. So now we don't have that kind of, even we don't use that kind of language. and the situation have got much better. So the civil war was catastrophic. However, when it ended, whites were very positive towards Reds. So Reds were able to become a part of the government, even though people had killed each other like badly. So whites said that we have a normal elections, and if you have if you get any votes, you can come to the government. And actually they got really many votes, and actually in 1926, 1927, Social Democratic Party has their own government, only minority government. And they were able to be part of the society. And I think that was the big reconciliation during that time.
Jo vetëm Finlanda, po edhe shumë kombe të tjera, domethënë momentin që çlirohen, momentin e lirisë kanë rrezik luftë civile dhe ambasadori shpjegoi për luftën civile që ka ndodhur në Finlandë dhe sa i ka kushtuar ajo Finlandës dhe pasojat e saj, domethënë edhe sot e kësaj dite ndihen. Kjo, prandaj kur përmenda presidentin Ahtisaari dhe përvojat e Finlandës që ka qenë shumë e rëndësishme se si, domethënë, të bëhet një plan i cili do t'ja mundsoj Kosovës që mos më kalunë për ato gjërat këqija që kanë kaluar shumë vendet e tjera, shumë kombe të tjera. Edhe prandaj kjo ka pas shumë rëndësi, domethënë që të zbatohet një plan i tillë çfarë është zbatuar në rastin e Kosovës.
Okay. But I don't know what he said, but I hope I don't say the same thing. No, it's okay. It's okay. We continue.
I mentioned, but not only Finns, but many other nations, when they were liberated, they were exposed to the, danger of civil war, and that was not only the Finns in this case, but many other nations, and that's why we have to understand the role of President Ahtisaari in the case of Kosovo. That many bad experiences that Finns and many other nations they already experienced, to avoid bad experiences and to take just the good experiences into the path. So that's true. No, you agree?
I agree. Now we go first time to our really foreign policy. At that time, to 27, we were actually very inclined to be with the Baltic states, like Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. And also Poland was very important for us during that period. We also wanted to be at that time League of Nations, so a part of UN, which didn't yet happen that time. However, we were really not yet so much with the Scandinavian countries. It came a bit later. But I have to say, in our Second World War, for example, Estonia and Swedish, they were a bit helping us, even though in the Second World War, which started to Finland in 1939, we were quite alone. Probably because also that we were next to Russia, and at the later part, when we have this continuity war, we were part of Germany, and then we actually let the German cause, and then our situation was not the best one. However, this war was bloody one also, not so much for us than for Russians, and maybe that's why Mr. Putin has said that even he can go to Baltic countries, he will never come to Finland, or Russia will never come to Finland again. In Finland we had, I tell this because this is something which you probably will understand, which is important for our country and how we got a bit proud of ourselves, even though you shouldn't do it with the war, somehow we did anyway. So in Finland, 25,000 people were killed. In Russia, there were, I say the figures, in Finland, 25,000 about were killed and about 10,000 disabled. 40,000 may be wounded, but this 10,000 is already part of this 40,000. In Russia, there were 200,000 people killed. 100 to 200,000 people killed, 200,000 wounded, and 400,000 missing. So, and when we started a war, we had 30 tanks. Russia had more than 6,000 tanks, and they lost 2,000 tanks. So kind of, even though at the end we lost the war, for Russia, we are somehow proud that we didn't lose for nothing, you know, or we didn't lose for not fighting back. And I think that, and during that time, Baltic countries went to Russia, and we stayed independent. And I will show you now, because you have the map here still. Yes. I will show you. We used to be.
And please just to explain to her why, I mean, those borders of Finland are like that. Okay. How they were drawn on the ethnic basis, on the natural boundaries, or you know, this could be interesting. You know, with Sweden, with Norway, and with Russia. You know.
I actually don't know. I think they probably. We never talked about this in our history classes, so I don't really know. I have to figure it out. But some of the things I know. In here, if you go in the north of here, we used to have access to not. We have a North Pole still. No. To the. Oh, stupid me. What is the Arctic? No.
Arctic, yeah.
Arctic Sea, yeah. Arctic Sea. We used to have access to the Arctic Sea, and we used to have. Okay, yeah. So, can you do this? Is this working? Yeah. So we used to get. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, this part used to be Finland, so we had access to the sea. So for us it was really big loss, and there is also a lot of minerals in that part. And now, even though if you think that there is a route going from here north to the China, first time it's now open because of the climate change. So you can actually go from here to the China, but now we don't have any of our own access there because it's Russia. So we lost that part in the war, and we lost here big part where you can't see St. Petersburg, but we were nearby the St. Petersburg. So big part of our eastern part of Finland were lost in the war. And then we had to pay a lot for Russians because we lost the war. So
but there are still Finns living there in this part of Russia today?
Not too many anymore.
Not too many.
So I continue with. So for us, the losing the war was horrible, but at least we saved our independence, which was really important for us. And actually what happened, which was really interesting during this time, is that because Russians wanted us to pay so much money for them, we had to actually increase our industry. So because of this, that we started to increase our industry to pay the bills, because Finnish always want to pay their bills. So we paid our bills in about 20 years, and after that we had quite good industry in Finland, and we could be able to grow. And in 1939, we were one of the poorest countries in the world, and now I think we are one of the richest, at least one of the most technically developed. And I think what was important of this war for us was that we got together as the whole Finland after the civil war. So we decided that, because we had a huge enemy, that we have to fight with them, that we actually got together and we fought together. And after that war, you were kind of brothers. It was not so much anymore of haters of each other, but more of the brothers. Still there has, Still there is marks of anyway, civil war and this war in our hearts and in our society. But I think and I think for us, civil war was much more harder than this one. And then this, even though it was really bad, it actually gave us a lot of courage, strength, willingness to be together, willingness to build the country together, because that was really important during that time, that we wanted to be together, we wanted to work together, and we wanted to build a nation. And I think after the First World War, no, the Second World War, we really started the nation building. And the good thing also was that during that war, women were not fighting, but women were in factories, and they were actually producing all the time the weapons, the bullets, whatever was needed. So the women's position after the war was much higher than before, and they were accepted in the workforce much better than previously.
Lufta civile gjithmonë është më shkatërruese se sa lufta kundër të huajve. Ndërsa lufta, domethënë, kundër rusëve e ka forcuar kombin, lufta civile ka lënë pasojë shumë të mëdha mes tyre. Edhe po shpjegoj se si, domethënë, në këtë luftë që u mobilizuar kundër rusëve, domethënë, edhe gratë kanë prodhuar armë, edhe fishek, burrat kanë luftu. Domethënë, faktikisht, i gjithë kombi është mobilizuar, të gjithë kanë qenë faktikisht në luftë, dhe kjo kam masti mobilizimi që ka ndodhur, domethënë, masi që ky forcim kombëtar ka ndodhur gjatë kësaj lufte, atëherë pas luftës suksesi u kon i garantuar, dhe prandaj Finlanda është shndruar në një vend që sot është ndër vendet më të përparuara në botë në çdo aspekt të jetës. Shikoni se sa e rëndësishme është me investu në ato që quhet ndjenjë kombëtare, në forcimin, në ndërtimin e kombit, pa të cilën shteti nuk mund të funksionojë. Dhe nga këtu mund ta kuptoni se sa ka lidhshmëri institucionet e shtetit me kombin. Kur kombi forcohet, shteti deli fort. Nuk mund të ndodhë domethënë që të ketë disbalancë në mes të këtyre dy çështjeve. Dhe ambasadori këtë e shpjegoi shumë bukur, domethënë se si në momentin që është mobilizuar kombi, suksesi ka ardhur më njëherë nga pas.
Okay, good. I continue then. For us, we accepted, or we decided that we try to be a neutral country after the war. So we don't want to have any kind of influence from any kind of countries. And because of, it was our Mr. Kekkonen, our President Kekkonen's idea, that we try to keep neutral position, that Russia is not getting angry with us, and also that we try to get ourselves more to the western part of the Europe. And there is some certain issues which were important during this time. It was that we got the Olympic Games in 1952. That was a very big issue for Finland, Summer Games, and it actually raised our kind of, also our identity and proudness of our country. And then in 1955, we joined the United Nations, which was also for us a huge step forward. And 1975, we had this OSCE meeting, big meeting in Helsinki. So these three issues actually made us grow where we were. In 1986, when the Soviet Union was falling, was also a big issue for Finland. First time we could feel a bit more kind of free. Till that time, we had this policy of neutrality and trying to survive, trying to be okay with them. But since that, when the Soviet Union collapsed and Russia came, we felt that now we can do something, by ourselves, and we can go more to the Western Europe. And this was actually starting point for our plans to join the European Union. It took us quite a long time. We put our application in 1992, And then we were EU member state from 1995. And for Finland, joining to European Union, more than, I think, 57%, because it was a referendum, more than 57% joined for, supported joining for European Union. But it was, I have to say, now many countries, when you join the European Union, you have to move your laws better. But in that time, we had so good laws in Finland that we have to reduce some of our standards. So it's quite interesting, especially with...
Kuptuta, domethënë që domethënë shumë vende duhet me ngrit standardet për me bo ligjet konform Bashkimit Evropian, po Finlanda detyru me ul standardet për me njësu me Bashkimin Evropian. Edhe shkoni këto momentet ma, po mendoj, pikante që mund me ra pyetje provime, për shembull, cili pozicioni i Finlandës gjatë domethënë pe mbas luftës së dytë botërore, që unë e përmend ambasadorja. Kjo është me mbajt mendi sot paktën sa me ditë sa a e keni përcjell ligjëratën me vëmendje apo jo.
Okay.
No, I'm just telling what could be the how to say the question for the exam, you know, that to remember some of the key points, just in order to let me know that they were followed your lecture by or not. So.
Okay, good. Then the one issue which is still going on in Finland is our NATO membership, because we are now peace partners for NATO. Since 2004, we have been talking about should we be part of NATO or not, but all the time the public opinion has been that we shouldn't. So most of the people, I think it's about 70%, says we shouldn't join the NATO. I think, my opinion, this is my personal opinion, we should have joined the NATO about 7, 8 years ago, because then we had, I would say, very good relationship with Russia, and it could have been possible to do it. At the moment, I don't see a possibility for us to join. So it might be that I heard some rumors that also Sweden is planning to join, or not also, that Sweden is planning to join to NATO soon. I don't know if it's going to happen, but for us it puts us to a different position if Sweden joins the NATO.
Yeah, of course.
And we have to see then what happens. Then I speak about a bit of our state system. So we have a president, of course, government, and a parliament. Since our history, we have had 12 presidents. Only one woman in 2000 and 2012. Before that and after that, all have been men. But I think it's even good that we at least have had one woman. Hopefully, future we will have more. And the president in Finland doesn't have too much of rights. He's kind of figure who is keeping the country together. So if you listen his speeches during our Independence Day or start of the Euro speech, you can realize that he's the one who wants the whole Finnish, or who has to want at least, the whole Finnish society to be together. And if there is some issues, like, which is a big issue in Finland, that people are lonely, so he will raise these kind of issues and talk about them. And he has two functions. He's nation's foreign politics. He leads nation's foreign politics in conjunction with the government, so together with the government. And he's the commander-in-chief of the Finnish Defense Forces. So those are only two kind of main issues or main functions of the president.
And about the law, I mean, appointing prosecutors, judges, and what is the role of president?
Yeah, all the important appointments goes to him. Not all, but for example, ambassadors are appointed by the president.
Of course.
Yeah. So the most
but,
kind of...
for example, in Kosovo, there is council, juridical council, who appoints the judges and also prosecution office who also council who is appointing. But there is finally they should swear.
To the president.
To the president. This is also to Finland.
Actually, every position, I don't know any position which you can just get into. So you will have, in every position, governmental position, you have a vetting process which is very strict. And it's actually right what you said, then the president only approves the selection. So I haven't seen any time that he has disapproved any selection which comes from the vetting process. And we don't have political appointments in Finland. We have maybe, I don't say we don't have, we probably have 1 or 2 per year. So for example, some minister who has been a minister, he might be appointed to ambassador. But I think how I remember in my period of since 94 with the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, we have had 2. So
I mean, basically, you can vote to the party which is not in, although you're ambassador, you can vote to another party who is in opposition. It's basically if you're a career diplomat.
Of course you can. It's your free choice. And I have to say, of course, it's a bit more hard to be an ambassador or to become an ambassador if you don't belong any party, because parties, of course, powerful behind you and lobbying you to the position. But at least I'm a woman who doesn't belong any party. I vote for 3 parties depending what is their policies and how I found them important and if there are candidates that I care about. So still I was able to become an ambassador. So it's not necessity, it's something that you can do if and there is, but you can be a party member even you are ambassador, so it's not prohibited.
Yeah, of course. Even in Kosovo, I mean, it's they have no right to be a member of party of the ambassador, but we know that all of them, they belong into the ruling party. So this is unwritten rule. Edhe në Kosovë, domethënë ambasadorët duhet formalisht me qenë anëtarë e partisë, po ne e dim që të gjithë ata I takojnë partisë në pushtet, zakonisht, edhe po ky nuk është rasti në Finland. Domethënë në Finland ambasadorët janë diplomat karrierës dhe ata nuk janë anëtarë të partisë natyrisht, por drejt atyre domethënë de facto ata mund të jenë anëtarë të cilës do parti, po mund të jenë simpatizantët po të cilës do parti, sepse kjo nuk e afekton karrierën e tyre, domethënë diplomatike.
Okay, and I have to say it's, I don't know exactly again what you said, but I'm saying one thing which is important, that because we consider us a small country, 5.4 million people. So if we don't use our best talent, how we ever gonna be the best in the world? So we really have to, we can't go to, this is my friend taking to the position, because then we will lose. We need to get the best people to the best positions, and then we will win. So I think that's very important for our, and I think the whole country understands that you really have to have best people for best positions. And we have also understand that it's a constant change in the world, so you really need your best talent. So it's kind of this thing. Then about political parties in the parliament, we are a multi-party system. Now we have 9 parties in parliament. We have more small parties. I don't know even how many, and I don't think it's relevant. But we have like 9 main parties which are competing. And who got the majority of MPs will form the government. And it can sometimes be a very difficult process. And now in our new parliament, we have 94 women of 200 members, so we have 47%. I think it's important, it's not important, for me it's not important that we have more women. For me it's important that we have like 50% women and 50% of men, because I think the equality is most important, not that someone has the superpower. So equality is that something where we, at least I want to be. Then I just say quickly about government. We have Social Democrats, Centre Party, Green Party, Left Alliance, and Swedish People's Party at the moment in the government. It's mainly, it's led by the Prime Minister Antti Rinne, who is from Social Democratic Party now. In previous government, we had the Central Party, Conservative Party, and True Finns, which are very like right-wing parties. So it was now a big change for different kind of type of governance. And I think that's a beauty of us, that people realize, you know, sometimes that this government is not good and we don't want this kind of anymore. So we are able to change the government, and that then the policy comes a bit different. However, parties in Finland also, we are not so extreme. So parties can agree. For example, they agreed already before, previous government agreed which will be our priorities for EU presidency. And then the new government came just in the start of the, just before start of the EU presidency, and then it was, they were taking up of these priorities, chasing them a little, but not too much, and continuing. So there is not the huge changes per se, and I think one part of Finnish system is interesting because we have state secretaries in all the ministries, which are not political, which are kind of, how do you say, neutral, and government service officers. So they go, if you have a, their mandate starts 2 years before the next elections, and their mandate ends 2 years again, like before the next elections. So we have this continuity in our kind of ruling in Finnish system, which I think is very good. And something about our government policy now is that our first of all, that economy, people are not for economy, economy is for people, and we want to have social rights, we want to have economic and ecological rights, and equality is very important, health services, taking care of each other, and this is actually straight from the taking care of each other from our government policy. We have to take care of people who doesn't have enough, or handicapped people, and we have to have best and happiest working life. And we need a competitive economy. We need a regional policy in Finland because you have to be able to work regardless where in Finland you live. And we believe in education, and we believe in education. We want to be a Nordic welfare state. We think that the climate change is a threat and we have to work with it. Innovation is very important for us, clean tech, circular economy, and we want to be a champion in education. And for us, it's very important, which should be for you too, that we want to have a rule-based world order. So we like UN, we like WTO, we like these things which actually help a small country to be and play a part of the world. So that's, and now we have an EU presidency till the end of this year. And now I'm trying to find, because then I wanted to speak something about our relation with the Balkans. Yes. So in Balkans, we have embassies in, I didn't take a Western Balkans, I took a whole Balkans. Mm-hmm. So we have embassies in Croatia, Serbia, Kosovo, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, and Turkey. And we understand that the stability in this region is extremely important, mm-hmm. and we try to work for whatever we can for stability of.
And Macedonia and Albania were covered by which embassy?
Albania is from Greece, and Macedonia is, not in Macedonia, is from Belgrade.
From Belgrade.
Yeah, and Montenegro is also from Belgrade. And as a Finland, we think that the EU enlargement, especially in this Western Balkan area, is extremely important. And we think that the EU will be stronger when you are in, not when you are out. And we also think that it will help the stability of this region and the happiness of the people too. So if you look at the embassies, Croatia, it's because It's a EU country mainly. We don't have very many kind of extremely close ties with Croatia, but Croatia we have a lot of tourists which goes to Croatia, and that's why it's important that we have an embassy there, that they can help our Finnish citizens if something happens. In Serbia, it's mainly economical relations. Finland and Serbia has a very good economical relations. In Kosovo, it's because of Martti Ahtisaari, actually, from the start. So it's because of him, and also I don't know, it's kind of, we have a big diaspora in Finland. For us it's big, it's 7,000 to 8,000 people living in Finland from Kosovo, who came mainly like just 91, 92, not anymore, during the wartime, but I think it was the time when people have to join the Yugoslavian army, and if they didn't want to, they actually came to Finland. And then Romania, Bulgaria. Romania is a lot with I think we want to establish some of rule of law there, and that's why it's important, and it's also important for economically.
It's a big country.
Yeah, true. Bulgaria, Greece, and Turkey. Bulgaria and Greece, we have a lot of tourists going there, so we have to have an embassy. And Turkey, of course, it's economical power. So what is interesting for us altogether in this area is influence of Russia, of course, always for us. Wherever Russia is coming and is strong, we are interested in it. We are also a bit worried about Turkey and Turkish influence in this area and how it affects to the whole stability of the area. And what is lately coming more and more important, this is what we're talking a lot, is organized crime, drugs, and immigration. So, of course, they are concerns for us, and there has been some, if you look at, for example, Sweden, Albanian, I don't know if I think it's mainly Albanian, but some Kosovars too are there. Albanian organized crime is part of the Swedish reality nowadays, and we definitely don't want to have it in Finland. So if we can do something to prevent it together, it would be excellent.
Yeah,
so.
There is a Kosovo minority, I mean, the diaspora there in Finland,
yeah.
but it is good for us to listen, I mean, whether this diaspora is problematic or is well integrated there, how it's their behavior, because as we know, I mean, in many countries we have somewhere, I mean, problematic. And
no, in Finland, in Finland it's actually very good, very well part of the society. I can give you an example. When I came here as an ambassador and I said I'm going to Kosovo, so then everyone started to find in their family, oh, I know this, he's from Kosovo, she's from Kosovo, she's working there, or they have their own business. That, oh, I go always coffee with them, and we are very good friends. And it's kind of very positive kind of connotations that people really like Kosovars in Finland. Now, last time, unfortunately, we had one incident where they were fighting or there was like shooting, Kosovars shooting two of the other Kosovars in Finnish streets. So it's something that we don't really like. We don't really like that, so it's kind of, that's the only negative part which I have heard ever from Kosovo, kind of Kosovars living in Finland. And I of course hope that this kind of incident don't come anymore. So that was the only negative part. But really, people like Kosovars in Finland. Then something about who Finnish have been here. Of course, you all know Martti Ahtisaari. And then we had Elisabeth Trehn, who was our first Finnish woman defense minister. She was here too in 95, 97, and human rights observer. Yes. And then Harri Holkeri was here as a special envoy for UN. I think everything didn't go very well with that time because he was here from 2003 and 2004. So it wasn't probably the best time or best. We actually questioned some of his actions, so I have to say straight away, even though he was a very good statesman, but maybe not always like best
But
person.
he was too old when he came
Came
here.
here, might be
and,
true, yeah.
So was too inactive, and he has misfortune that all of his deputies were also, wrong. And so that's the entire structure of UNMIC at that time. You had Harry Holkeri, who was old and was inactive, and you have the bad guys around.
Okay.
And that's why it happened the events of 2004, which, of course, they
Shouldn't have
damaged
happened, yeah.
so much Kosovo, and it made unrepairable image and everything. What was done at that time, it has, it's our bad memory, unfortunately, but.
True. And then something about that, we recognized Kosovo 7th of March in 2008, and diplomatic relations were established 3rd February 2009, and embassy was established already a bit 1st of February, actually, 2009. I think our relationship altogether with the Kosovo is good, and Finland supports visa liberalization. We have tried to work very much for it during now our EU presidency. It seems to be like huge tackle, which it's unfortunate because I think you drop a bit from the train because of this Montenegro issue took so long. If it would have happened earlier, then during this time also EU changed so much. So now the situation is much harder to get things through and decision made in European Union. Then I think if you listen to me, you already know something about our Finnish foreign policy and which are important for us. Of course, always, we want to have a functional relationship with Russia. That's extremely important. We have such a more than 1,000 kilometers border with Russia, so we have to live somehow together. It's not always easy, and the relationships are not always so.
You have embassy in Moscow.
Oh yeah, we have.
And Russia has as well.
In Finland. So we have a functional relationship, but we don't even expect that they have to be super trooper good. It's enough if we can live together and somehow agree some of the things together. So that's enough. We have a good relationship with the Scandinavian countries, or Nordic countries as we call them, and we have a passport. We can travel without passport, we can travel without any checkings or anything, so we try to support each other. We have different kind of mechanism how we can work together and support each other. Even if you think about Security Council memberships, we have decided who is when and how in a term, and then all the 5 countries are supporting the one who wants to be a member in the Security Council. So we have a lot of things which we do together with the Scandinavia. Estonia has been always very important for us because Estonia is we speak almost same language, not really the same, and we are in the same group of languages. And they also came to help us during our World War II. And Finnish are interesting. We never forget if someone has helped us. So it's always in our hearts, especially in a time of hardship. If someone comes and helps you, you will remember it always. We sometimes remember the bad things too, but not too much properly anymore. But we do actually, sometimes. Like for example, it's still, especially my grandma couldn't stand Russian, so she always said that Russian is Russian, even if you fry him or her in a butter. And in Finland, butter makes all the things better, So there is that kind of grievances still, or now my grandma already passed, but still some people have grievances about these issues. But it's good, and at our home you can speak about it. European Union is important for us. All the policies, we think that we have to have a stronger European Union, and we can have even European Union which goes some goes faster and some goes slower. Lately, we have understood that that can be also a bit problematic because then it can put countries in a different position when we do a decision making, and maybe it's not so good as the compromises that we have to always do now. United Nations, WTO, very big part because we want to have these rule-based societies and a rule-based world order. So those are kind of important in our foreign policy. And as I said, EU enlargement is also a big issue for us. US is of course, for everyone, it's crucial. We have a very good relationship with the USA, but it's not coming so much up all the time. I think mainly issues with our foreign policies regarding the EU policy, regarding the policy with Russia, regarding what we are doing with the Nordics. So I think it's quite a good picture of what we are and what we seem. The last thing I have to say, in our foreign policy also, human rights are one of the main issues which we are talking everywhere. Human rights and also this equality. I don't speak so much about women's rights, but I speak more about equality between people. That's important. So now it's, did I speak too long? Thank you.
No, Ambassador. Just maybe when we spoke about the political system, I have wanted to stress with students the minority rights in Finland, which are an example, especially in relation with Sami, minority Sami, and with Swedes, or Swedish-speaking Finns, how to say, because sometimes it's used this Swedish-speaking Finns or Swedish minority, but we know we are speaking about the same group. However, we are calling them.
Yeah, true. And I have to say, we have not treated always Sami people well. And now we've decided to have a Truth and Justice Commission to look at the atrocities.
Shikoni, minoriteti Sami, sorry, jeton kryesisht në veri të Norvegjisë, në veri të Suedisë dhe në Norvegji të Finlandës, po edhe të Rusisë, këtu në të pjesë të Mohamedit. Është Sami minority, so is living in the north. Ata janë më tepër popull endacak, domethënë, të cilët nuk janë gjendje të realizojnë të drejtat e tyre, por fati i tyre është që kombet të cilat kanë të bëjnë, domethënë, sundojnë aty ku këta jeton ky minoritet, janë gjeneroze, qoftë norvegjez, qoftë suedez, qoftë finlandez, domethënë ta kanë i respektojnë edhe ju japin shkollën gjuhën amtare, madje ju kanë në disa prej këtyre vende janë kriju edhe ato kuvendet e tyre, domethënë lokale ku ata I vendosin çështjet që kanë të bëjnë me kulturën e tyre. I was just speaking about, the minority Sami living in all this northern part, and although they are not capable to, to fight for their rights, they are fortunate because all of those countries, especially in Norway, Sweden, and Finland, they are very generous toward them, and they are giving them the rights in order to preserve this minority as a cultural heritage of those countries. So this is the case with Finns as well.
Yeah, but I have to say, in 1970s, we tried to take these people to especially young Sami people, to these kind of boarding schools where we try to not to them to speak their own language and assimilate to Finnish system, and that's why we have now this Truth and Justice Commission, because if we think if you live in Finland, of course you have to learn to speak Finnish, at least somehow, or Swedish, you can decide, but you have to have a possibility to use your own language, especially if you are one of the minorities which have been in Finland always.
Kurse minoriteti suedez, që jeton në domethënë është dikon 5%, 5% Swedish minority, or 8%. Që nga themelimi I shtetit finlandez, ai është partia që përfaqëson minoritetin suedez, është pjesë e koalicioneve qeverisë. This party which represent the Swedish interest, Swedish into Finland. They were part of the government, almost in every government of Finland since the foundation of Finland. Dhe por nuk duhet harruar që ky minoriteti suedez ka luajtur një rol emancipues në lëvizjen kombëtare fine, kur finlandezët domthon kanë luftuar për qërim nga Rusia. Domthon që nga viti 1809 deri në vitin 1917 ka ekzistuar lëvizja kombëtare fine, e cila kanë konsistuar domthon me kriju shtetin e vet të pavarur. Dhe në këtë lëvizje suedezët domthon që kanë jetuar në minoriteti suedez që kanë jetuar, ju ka bashkangjit, ka pas domthon ka qenë suportiv, jo pengus, domthon I ka ndihmu për që popullit finlandez për mushiru, domthon prej you have to confirm now because I said that in the national movement of Finland since 1809 when Finland was occupied by Russia, Swedish minority play important role into the Finnish national movement, and they were supportive all of this time, so that's why, they got this position even after the liberation of independence.
True. That's true.
Tash, pyetje, kush ka pyetje për? Hajde Kastriot.
Thank you. Okay.
Once again, I would like to thank you for sharing your time here with us. I would like to ask you about something that we could all look forward to. I'm citing you. You said we want to be champion in education. To which I believe firmly that you do. My question is, can the Finnish educational system be replicated in other countries? If so, should it?
Okay. You can take part of our educational system. You can take it almost in every country. However, the societies are different. So it's not applicable as such, but there has to be some changes done and see how it fits your system, or whoever country it is, whose system it is put. However, and it's been with us for a long period of time, so we developed it for last 50 years. So it would be a bit unfair to take it per se here. So it's some parts and good parts. I think now what we have in our educational system, that it's like this project-based learning and critical thinking and all these kind of methods that you don't have to learn by heart, that you can really learn kind of putting things together and have this logical thinking. I think these kind of things can be taken but it's for example, if it would be here in Kosovo, you should have some kind of period of time when you accustom it to your needs and what kind of society, what do you want actually from the society. So, thanks.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you.
For me, it was a pleasure. It is really elaborated in such a way that is very clear and a lesson learned from all this, that you had all these wars, all losses in people, sometimes left alone. And again, I think the key success of all this was that you had love for your homeland. That one. And the second thing that while you were talking, you said that you have a very well functional vetting process. Our independent judiciary in Kosovo is weak, and we all know that a vetting process could really is crucial in this country. And I'm really advocating here that your country somehow has another Ahtisaari and help us on this process towards independence of judiciary. This is all what I had, and also just thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We have to get your Ministry of Justice to apply for twinning project, and we can come and work together, because at the moment we don't have a development aid in Kosovo, because we think you are our partners, and maybe as a partners we can do something together. And that's why actually for embassy we have our priority is youth, economic relations, and regional stability. So please ask your ministers, it's not really much used here, the twinning kind of, how do you say, EU twinning projects. So if you can get your ministries to ask, and then it will be a lot of support. Unfortunately, quite often it happens that politicians here are normally in 2 years in power, quite often, isn't it? So they don't see what is the worth of this kind of long-term project, and I think that's something which should be changed.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask you a question, but it's more political. So you mentioned that the incentive of industrial development in Finland was paying the debts of the war. So the new government to come is putting in public this idea of requesting from Serbia the paying of debts from the war. What do you think? It will be good for Serbia to get into the industrial development?
What do you think? It might be, you never know. So it's very hard for me to say. I think maybe it's more important to concentrate on doing reforms and like really issues inside your country, because sometimes I think too much efforts are used for Serbia. Much more efforts are needed here inside to make your country great, because I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, because I understand you have been in a war and it's not so long a time ago, and it can be offending to say, and I didn't mean offend anyone, but somehow I see it might give more value added to your country.
E po gjatë ligjëratës ambasadorës se cili komb e ka Serbinë e vet. Domethënë në këtë rast finlandezët kanë në Rusinë, domethënë sepse kanë vujt 100 vjet në Rusinë, edhe mirë po ata kanë arritur me zhvillue relacione diplomatike. Tani domethënë Finlanda ka ambasadën e Moskë, Rusia ka ambasadën e Finland, edhe falë ti relacioni, edhe Ahtisaari ka mund të luajë rolin e vet, domethënë jo me kot Amerikanët kur kanë dashur me zgjedh problemin e Kosovës, kanë zgjedh për ndërmjetësues Ahtisaarin, sepse është dashur kooperimi me rusët, edhe unë ju sugjeroj juve, domethënë që ta lexoni librin e Ahtisaarit Misioni në Beograd. Është I përkthyer edhe në gjuhën shqipe. I'm just suggesting that they have to read the book of President Ahtisaari, The Mission in Belgrade, which is translated in Albanian too. So, because të gjithë ju, domethënë që dëshironi me ditë se si shkojnë proceset diplomatike në test të shpatës, domethënë apo për fijet penit, si thëmë, edhe se sa në rrezik ka qenë Kosova për mu shbo, për mu realizu gjenicidin Kosovë, dhe se si ka shpëtuar, du të lexoni këtë libër. Nuk është I trash, shumë është 100-200 kusur faqe, nuk e po më dispe mbaj mend sa rasisht, por... Pak mbi 200, po. Nëse mu ka duk shumë I hollë, me qenë se kur e kam lexue pa ndërprerë për një natë se s'ka mujtë më nda, domethënë ati temës, edhe të gjitha informacioneve që jep presidenti aty në, domethënë se si ka shkuar rrugat. Por edhe kjo, fakti që Kosova ka qenë, do më thonë, 100 vjetë e pushtume prej Serbisë e tjera, kjo nuk do më thonë që mos zhvillohen marrëdhënie diplomatike, që mos të mba natyrisht, po shihni që këta kanë kaluar jo para 20 vjetë si ne, po do më thonë ka 102 vjetë që kur ka mbaru pushtimi rus në Finland, dhe akoma e mbajnë mend, akoma e përmendin, por kjo nuk është arsye që ta mos me zhvillue marrëdhënie diplomatike, mos me zhvillu politikë ndaj, edhe nuk është arsye që mos me pas sërish kujdes, ndaj atyre që i kanë pushtue para 102 vjetë, do më thonë pej, sa po bjen pej 210 vjetë për para dhe 102 vjetë për para në këtë periudhë. Shumë e rëndësishme përmendoj ta keni këtë përvojë në mënyrë që të reflektoni kur bën fjale për hapat të cilët duhet të ndërmerr Kosova edhe klasa politike e saj. Shikoni reagimin të cilën e ka bë jo vetëm klasa politike, por edhe njerëzit tonë në Kosovë, në për media, në për ato të ashtu quajturit intelektuale, opinionistë të tjerë, ndaj kësaj ide së Schengenit ballkanik. Është plotësisht një reagim naiv i të gjithëve, i shumicës, domethënë të gjithëve, që ka detyruar edhe të intervenojë, domethënë edhe diplomacia amerikane, më thonë, ka dalë duhet ta bëni këtë, por nuk duhet t'i lëni jashtë ta idiotat që i kam krijuar, domethënë këtë shtetin e vogël i cili reagon në mënyrë domethënë foshnjore ndaj një projekti i cili zhvillohet në rajon. Domethënë një reagim i cili është komplet foshnjor, jo reagim pej një kombi i cili din interesat e veta, mbron interesat e veta edhe vepron konform atyre interesave. Unë në kolegë, se më falë. Emrin më falë vishë të mboj mendë. Bislim Gashem. Mirë.
The first time, apologize because my English language is not good. Do a clearly question. If somebody help me, I would like to say something.
Maybe she, yeah?
Po, thënë Shqip, unë ta përktheje, se sa problem.
Besoj që të gjithë ndjemi të nderuar që gjendemi para përfaqësuesit të një shteti të vogël, i cili ka kaluar në për tragjedi të mëdha, aq më shumë, por afër kufirit të saj ka Shën Petersburgun, një ndër qendrat më të mëdha të vendosjes në Rusi.
We are honored that the representative of a small nation is speaking but with a big experience, with a great experience, is speaking in front of us, especially that it has, it's so close with St. Petersburg, which is, the decision center in Russia.
Dhe këta politikanë të mërfjell kanë krijuar një komb të fuqishëm.
And you created a very strong nation, although small, but very strong nation.
Së dyti, dua ta falenderoj në emrin tim personal për gjithë aktivitetin e Finlandës, në veçanti të Marti Ahtisaari. Marti Ahtisaari nuk është vetëm arkitekti i kombit kosovar, por s'dua të harrojmë se Marti Ahtisaari është personi i fundit që në maj të 99-s ka takuar Miloševićin në Beograd dhe nga ai vjen edhe rrjedhja dhe marrëveshja komunale.
Who is, especially because of the role of, we are grateful, especially because of the role of Marti Ahtisaari, President Ahtisaari, was not only the architect of the Kosovar nation, but he is also our liberator, because he was the last person who met Milošević in Belgrade after what we came to the Kumanova Agreement, which means for us the liberation of Kosovo.
Gjatë ligjëratës më ranë në vesh 3 raste. Ishte vota e parë e femrës e lirë në Finland.
I was impressed that, Finland is the first case when women voted.
In Europe. In
Europa.
Puna e përbashkët e femrave gjatë luftës dytë botërore.
And the contribution of the females during the Second World War.
Dhe përqindja e lartë e gjinisë femërore në parlamentin finlandez.
And the big percentage of the females into the parliament.
A të thot kjo që një komp që barazon më së pari gjinin, nuk e ka më problem të barazoj edhe tjerët dhe vetë shndrohet në një komp të fuqishëm.
Does this means that a nation which makes equality between gender equality, it's able to make all other equalities, and therefore it became the great nation?
Oh, what an easy question. I think there is some research that if more equal country it is more stable. Does it bring more equality to in every other areas in the society? I believe so, actually, and I think it's more and more important nowadays that we look, when you speak about gender, we used to speak about women's rights, and I don't really believe in this in our society especially, because nowadays women in some positions are much more stronger than men. So I think it's important that we look at the world from different lenses. So we look how this will affect women, how this will affect men, and how this will affect children. And then we also see that if we have minorities who doesn't have a proper position, if we have handicapped people, we also look how it affects to them and try to make best decision regarding that. And I think it also made our, because of a lot of women, it made our men also to be more considerate, more thinking issues from different sides than they did before. I can't really answer your question for sure. I would actually find some material to see if it's that true, but I have an idea that there is some truth what you said, but I think for us in Finland, it's been very important for our growth as a society. Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, we exceeded our time for 15 minutes.
All right. I'm so sorry.
It's not your
Përshëndetje, prof, nëse ka mundësi edhe unë t'ja bëj një pyetje.
Nëse të lejon kolegë që e krytë të morë.
Se shumë lejon kolegë, unë jam Ligjëratë, kështu që
Ligjëratë is working in the Ministry of Education.
Juve ambasadore, do të ishte një pyetje të paktën që të jem shumë i shkuar. Në kodër 3 shteteve tash të fqinje që i kemë Shqipërinë, Maqedoninë dhe Serbinë që po pretendojnë ta bëjnë një mini Schengen këtu në Ballkan, mini Schengen i Ballkanit. Çfarë mendoni ju çka do të na sjell neve si kosovartu që jetojmë? Edhe pyetja e dytë, sa jeni ju si shtet i Finlandës në lobimin e liberalizimit vizave që na nevojitet një liberalizim I tillë që edhe neve ta vëzojmë lirinë e lëvizjes së lirë nëpër shtetet Schengen.
So, yeah, you said that about visa liberalization that we are in favor, but could you do much more, advocacy for this within European Union? He was asking. I mean, as a Finland. And the second, what do you think about this mini Schengen or Balkanic Schengen, idea? So that's where the questions from our colleague.
Visa liberalization, we have done a lot. We have had a discussion all the time in Brussels. We have tried to turn people to some countries, especially, to be for it. And also I have spoken with your previous government to go to this, because everyone knows what are the countries which are not so favorable for your visa liberalization, to go there and discuss with these countries, because it's you have to have a 60%, I think 60 or 70% of votes regarding the population and regarding also the countries. So it's no use to take it there if we are not sure that it's possible to have it. I don't think we can do too much more, but we try all the time, so it's kind of progress. Mini Schengen, I'm not very well because I was last week almost all the time away. I'm not sure which are Which are the reasons why it came up now? So I have no clear idea. I have to research it a bit more so to give you a good idea. If it's that it really means that you want to have mobility between countries easier, and it's equal and it's good for everyone, I have no problems for it. However, if it's something which benefits some of the countries much more than the others, or if it's like, how would I say, if it's like dismissing some countries or making them in a bad position, then I don't think it's good. So I have to still research it by myself because I don't have at least I don't have my own opinion, and for sure Finland doesn't have official opinion on that.
E kuptuat, pra, të sidomos kjo është më rëndësi, domethënë duhet ta mendoni mirë nëse është në interesin tuaj apo s'është, edhe nuk është mirë, domethënë nëse në këtë përfshihen disa shtete edhe nuk përfshihen disa tjera. Këtë nëse dikush met mangu, gjë që ka qenë edhe qendrimi i Amerikës, me qenë se unë s'kam kriju akoma një opinion lidhur me këtë, sigurisht që as Finlanda nuk ka kriju një opinion, sepse natyrisht qeveria e Finlandës konsultohet me ambasadorin e vet dhe I japin njëri tjetrit këshilla dhe udhëzime. Atëherë unë ju falenderoj për vëmendje, sidomos falenderoj shkencësinë e saj, zonjën Pia Stjernvall.
Yeah, Stjernvall. Stjernvall,
me sh.
But Stjernvall is good, it's like Finnish, yeah, it's good. Because a lot of people in Finland say Stjernvall because it's a because it's a Swedish name. Stjernvall is yeah.
Pia Stjernvall, pra për ligjëratën e saj të shkëlqyeshme, very excellent lecture. I'm very satisfied. I hope our students are.
Thank you. Thank you for questions.
Doni me bo fotografi or noni me? Want to make a picture.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's nice.